At 6, working for you.
A new lawsuit in the Natural Bridge Zoo case targets investigators and makes a shocking claim about those missing giraffe calves.
Holiday travel is ramping up. What's driving millions to the highways and which days you'll want to avoid hitting the road.
Torrential rain is turning roads into rivers. See the devastation, forcing mass evacuations and triggering dangerous mudslides in Washington. Good morning and thanks for waking up with us. I'm Abby Coleman.
And I'm Keisha Lynn. Let's check in right now with meteorologist Parker Beasley. Parker, a lot of that snow is starting to melt now. What else can we expect today?
Yeah, a lot of it melted yesterday because our temperatures got back into the mid 40s or so not much snow left on the ground. However, we did have a cold front push through yesterday afternoon into last night, and that did bring a couple of snow flurries, maybe a light dusting for parts of the New River Valley and the Blue Ridge, but it also reinforced that cold air that we're dealing with. So temperatures are between about 20 and 30 degrees with winds between about 20 and 30 miles per hour. So when you pair the two together, we are dealing with a frigid wind chill, and we'll continue to deal with that pretty much all day long today. Now, as we go into the late afternoon and the evening, the winds start to die off, but our temperatures still stay fairly cold. So we won't be dealing with the wind chill, but we'll still be dealing with that cold air. We will stay mostly clear and sunny pretty much all day long, with actual temperatures getting up above freezing by the 10 o'clock hour.
A guilty plea for a Catawba youth pastor who's been in federal custody since an August arrest. 34-year-old Jacob Barnett, who you see on your screen right now, pled guilty to one count of attempted sexual exploitation of a 15-year-old child. Court documents indicate Barnett used TikTok to message the minor, claiming he was 17 years old. The minor, who identified she was 15 years old, received Barnett's phone number and began texting before getting requests to send photos. We have additional details into the case with this story on WSLS.com.
Now to a surprising development in a story we've been following for years. It's an unexpected detail in a lawsuit filed by owners of the Natural Bridge Zoo we first told you about Tuesday night, targeting state and local officials involved in investigating allegations of animal neglect and cruelty.
Now, those owners claim there never were any missing giraffe calves. 10 News reporter Ethan Ellis working for you to break this all down.
You probably remember these guys, giraffes seized from the Natural Bridge Zoo by state officials, and their calves still nowhere to be found. But now zoo owners are claiming those calves don't even exist. It's all part of a 15-page lawsuit against the Virginia State Police, Attorney General's Office, Virginia Animal Fighting Task Force, Rockbridge County, and 5 other prosecutors and investigators. Now, the suit accuses them of violating 6 different constitutional amendments, ranging from unlawful search and seizure all the way to freedom of speech. Now, the complaint references 9 different occasions where the zoo owners felt wrongdoing occurred. It spans from December of 2023 all the way through October of this year. Now, the claims in these documents include prosecutors tampering and intimidating witnesses, evidence manipulation, and retaliatory proceedings. So where do the giraffe calves fit into this? Well, on page 11 of the lawsuit, the zoo's attorney claims that zoo owner Gretchen Mogensen was jailed after being forced to turn over what the suit calls non-existent giraffe offspring. There wasn't a specific figure listed for how much the group is looking to be compensated. They say they want to be repaid for attorney fees, emotional distress, and damage to their reputation and business, as well as damages for what they call willful and malicious misconduct. So what's next in this years-long legal saga? Well, right now there's 2 pending legal matters to know about. There's this lawsuit, and then there's a criminal investigation that was opened after Valentine, a giraffe that was previously at the Natural Bridge Zoo, died in the custody of the state. I reached out to all parties listed in the suit, but they declined to comment or didn't respond. Ethan Ellis, 10 News, working for you.
For full coverage on this story and a timeline of events, you can head to our website at WSLS.com.
Now, a developing story out of Allegheny County. Sheriff's deputies followed up on several complaints for missing mail and packages in the western part of the county. A lead on the investigation literally came to one of the lieutenant's homes when a vehicle stopped nearby and began to follow this white sedan with black rims. 2 people were found going through a row of mailboxes before responding. Deputies were able to make a traffic stop and arrest 22-year-old Kathleen Davis and 23-year-old Corey Martin of Alderson, West Virginia. Deputies also found multiple items and more than $400 in cash.
Allegheny County leaders lifted the boil water notice late yesterday morning. Staff from the Virginia Department of Health confirmed the water supply in the Clearwater, Clearview, and Dunbrack areas are safe for consumption with no concerns for contamination.
Roanoke County held its annual State of the County address yesterday, and leaders in the county met with businesses and residents to talk about the work going on in the county while also highlighting the benefits that come in the county.
Roanoke County is fortunate to have a diverse and resilient economic landscape with strength in manufacturing, technology, healthcare, tourism, and recreation.
Leaders also mentioned the ongoing construction of a diverging diamond at the interchange of routes 419 and 220 to improve traffic flow and safety in the area.
The Radford Foundry was once one of the biggest employers in the city of Radford, but after closing in the early 2000s, the foundry lot has sat empty, and now the city is working to make the area useful again. In 2024, Radford was awarded a $3.5 million grant to help revitalize the space and bring more jobs to the area. The area was designated for industrial businesses only, so the city is looking for industries that can utilize the lot, along with the Arsenal and the Volvo plant in Dublin. The foundry was an essential part of the economy for the city for decades, and since closing, they've been hurting financially.
It shut its door in the early 2000s, and it really cost a lot for Radford. Cost jobs, and of course with the foundry closing, a lot of electricity was lost. We just lost a lot economically from the closing of the foundry. It sat dormant for years, and the city was interested in purchasing the property and remediating it and turning over for future development.
Radford officials hope that a single industry could take over the entire property and invest heavily in a city facing financial issues. They project to finish this stage of the redevelopment by May of 2026, and then will additionally focus on marketing to industries that could potentially take over the lot.
Experts say this holiday travel season will be busier than last year. Most travelers will hit the road to take advantage of lower gas prices.
That's right, Abby. And with Christmas just 2 weeks away, experts say most Americans will opt for the road to take advantage of favorable gas prices with averages below $3 a gallon. Virginia's averaging about $2.83. The price to fly increased by about 7% compared to last year. And if you haven't booked your flights now, the last-minute bookings can get expensive. More than 8 million people are expected to go through TSA lines across the country.
And there are some key days you will want to avoid travel if possible. Those days will be December 20th, 21st, and 26th. If possible, your best travel days will be December 25th and New Year's Day.
A so-called river in the sky is causing rivers on the ground to crest in Washington state. The potentially historic flooding is forcing thousands to evacuate.
Meteorologists call the phenomenon an atmospheric river. Amy Kiley reports on how it's devastating parts of the Pacific Northwest.
Officials are advising about 100,000 people to evacuate certain areas of Washington state. An atmospheric river is causing heavy rainfall, flooding, and mudslides.
The situation is extremely serious. The next few days are going to be very critical.
The governor says he declared a state of emergency since some rivers could reach historic levels. Video shows water rescues in multiple areas.
I found myself stuck on a little piece of land out there with my 4 cats and had to wade through water up to my chest in order to get to dry land. It was very cold and very swift.
In south central Washington, shelters are caring for some rescuees.
So what we're doing right now is we're providing obviously shelter beds, meals, dry clothes, a place for their pets.
Officials say at least 2 major mudslides have blocked parts of I-90. This Seattle area gas station is damaged.
It's a lot of sand.
And in northwest Washington, sandbag volunteers are shoring up an old dike system along the Skagit River.
At a time like this, it's all hands on deck.
Forecasters say dangers will continue into Friday.
The impact on Washingtonians is significant now, and it's going to be significant in the coming days, and that is an understatement.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And still ahead, we are tracking below normal temperatures for the next several days as we've got more fronts that looks to bring in maybe some showers, even some snow showers for some.
Thank you, Parker. And are you looking to save on your mortgage? Why refinance applications are surging, plus Southwest Airlines may be adding a new perk for travelers.
All that and more coming up next in Money Matters.
Ten News Weather Authority from the JES Weather Center.
Parker, I wish the snow had timed out just a little bit better so we could have had a white Christmas, because this was one of the prettiest snows I've seen in so long, and it would have been so perfect to have that right at Christmas.
So if you recall back to last week, we had snow on Wednesday into Thursday. If it would have just been 1 week earlier, we would have had snow on Thanksgiving. So it would have been really, really pretty out there, but we'll take what we can get. We've had snow pretty early on in the month of December. We really haven't had an eventful snow since 2018 for the month of December. It's been 7 years, 8 seasons. So yeah, but we have seen some really, really nice pictures that were captured on our Pin It page. I've been through all of them. This is Fire and Ice. This was taken by Polly Vaughn out in Freeze at the sunset just the other night. You see the snow on the ground in the sunset in the distance. Very, very nice picture. Thank you for sending that in. What we're dealing with this morning, not really too much snowfall, although some of us along the Blue Ridge did see a couple of showers through last night, and continuing to see maybe a couple of flurries blow around out there this morning. But we're dealing with a frigid wind chill, and so we'll be dealing with wind chill pretty much all day long. Here is a look at noon. Later today, we'll be feeling between about the teens all the way up to maybe 35 degrees or so. Parts of the Piedmont aren't really dealing with that much wind out there. Don't get me wrong, it's still windy, but not as windy as compared to, say, parts of the Blue Ridge, where they're dealing with maybe winds in excess of 30 miles per hour currently. So wind chill is going to be the big story for the day. We are going to stay mostly clear and sunny. Again, the sun is going to be heating up the surface, which all of that warm air at the surface then wants to rise. And because it's so cold outside, that air wants to sink. So we've got this battle ongoing. And so we've got this little bit of mixing ongoing. So that's why we're on the windy side. We're also wedged between two areas of differing pressure, which basically just increasing the ingredients for those wind speeds. So winds are gusting between about 20 and 30 miles per hour through around 1 p.m. or so. Then they start to taper off as soon as that sun sets. Winds will be breezy at best. So conditions will be improving. We're also tracking our next frontal system. We just had one pass through yesterday afternoon / evening into the overnight. We're going to have another one that builds through later tonight into tomorrow as well. So snow showers yet again possible for parts of the Blue Ridge. I do think a lot of the snow that we see this time is going to be kept north of the I-64 corridor, west of I-77 and west of I-81. So not many spots along the Piedmont will see an accumulation of snow come tomorrow morning. However, some areas along parts of the Blue Ridge will be seeing anywhere from 1 to maybe 2 inches of snow, and maybe a light dusting across parts of the Piedmont. But here's a look at the current odds through tomorrow. Increased highest along parts of Lewisburg into Narrows, into parts of Wytheville, Pulaski, maybe seeing an inch, maybe 2 inches by the time it's all said and done. But you see the odds continue to fall off the further east you head. Here's a look at our weather headlines, what we're tracking as we head into the weekend. Below normal temperatures are going to be continuing with, yet again, multiple fronts reinforcing some of that cold air. There's a look at your Friday front. We've got another one that builds through on Saturday night into Sunday. This one is going to be having moisture build in behind, but brings yet another chance of seeing some light snow showers for Sunday. This is going to be reinforcing those cold temperatures. 13 degrees is your forecast low for Monday morning of next week in the Roanoke Valley. For the New River Valley, we're talking about 5 degrees to kick off next week. It's now time for Time Saver Traffic.
Thank you, Parker. And if you are out and about on the roads this morning or about to, you do want to be careful. There is a tractor trailer crash in Pulaski County on I-81 at mile marker 87.8. Again, there's a tractor trailer crash. The south left shoulder and left lane are closed.
If you're flying this holiday season, Southwest may soon offer a new way to relax before takeoff. And speaking of the holidays, the clock is ticking to get your gifts shipped on time. Oh, don't stress me out like that.
CNN's Maribel Abers joining us with a look at what's making headlines in Money Matters. Good morning, Maribel.
Hey, good morning, Keisha and Abby. Well, homeowners are looking for any savings they can get. The Mortgage Bankers Association seasonally adjusted index, it shows that total applications to refinance a home loan rose 14% last week. That's compared to the previous week. And demand for FHA refinances was up 24% for the week. It's likely because the FHA interest rate for 30-year fixed loans fell to 6.08%, the lowest level since September 2024. Southwest Airlines is actively pursuing the possibility of opening airport lounges. That's according to CEO Bob Jordan. Jordan told CNBC he thinks lounges would be the next huge benefit for their customers. The Dallas-based airline won approval for a lounge at Honolulu's International Airport in October. No word yet on when the possible network of lounges will open. And it's starting to get down to the wire if you need to send out Christmas gifts. You've got less than a week of shopping left, and the U.S. Postal Service says you need to send packages by next Wednesday to get them delivered before the holiday. If you want to spend a bit extra, paying for Priority Mail will get you until next Thursday. Priority Mail Express 2 gets you until next Saturday. I promise your gifts will go out latest Monday, Abby and Keisha. Hopefully by Saturday. I got to bake the cookies, but your gifts are wrapped.
I'm so excited, Maribel. I've got to say, I don't think I will ever pay extra for shipping. I will just tell somebody, I'll be like, hey, your gift is coming late. I'll admit, I'll be like, I ordered it too late. I don't think I'll ever spend more on shipping.
Oh yeah, I'm with you, Abby. I'm with
Smart.
you.
All right, thank you, Maribel.
You got it.
In your Health Watch, December is National Safe Toys and Gifts Month, and if you're planning to buy a toy for a child this holiday season, here are some safety tips to keep in mind. Pediatricians at the Cleveland Clinic say besides buying age-appropriate toys, it's also important to be mindful of toys that come with a lot of small pieces. Those can be a choking hazard for babies and toddlers. If you're ever unsure, experts say consider whether it can fit through a toilet paper roll. If it can, then it's a choking hazard. The same advice applies with toys that have magnets and batteries in them.
There are some things that smaller children or babies or toddlers could potentially get their fingers caught in. There are things that they could eat or swallow that could be harmful. So it's really important. I think sometimes we get excited about what the toys can do and all the bells and whistles and lights, and we think it'll be fun, but it's important to pay attention to the recommendations by age.
And while it might be tempting to buy toys with a lot of lights and sounds, experts say it's okay to get children simple things too. Ideas include books, puzzles, stuffed animals, and board games.
Great advice, Abby. And at 6:20, a star-studded night is coming, and it's led by some of the biggest names in fashion and entertainment. The 2026 Met Gala promises glamour and surprises. Who's leading the charge next?
And Virginia senators join calls for answers after a deadly strike near Venezuela. Why they want the Pentagon to release the video. That's coming up in the next half hour of 10 News.
From WSLS, this is 10 News at 6, working for you.
Here's a look at your forecast high temperatures across Southwest Virginia for your Thursday. 27 to about 42, warmer closer to the Piedmont, cooler across the Blue Ridge. But today's winds are the big theme that we're continuing to track, gusting between 20 and 30 as of this morning, but slowing down later on this evening. So the wind chill over the next 24 hours, pretty low for the next 12 hours or so. Once we get into tonight, that wind chill goes away.
All right, thank you, Parker. A star-studded night led by elite women. You'll love to see it.
I love this story, Abby. Vogue says the 2026 Met Gala will be hosted by Beyonce, Nicole Kidman, and Venus Williams, alongside Anna Wintour. While the dress code has not been released, last month organizers announced the theme of the museum's exhibit will be costume art.
The Costume Institute exhibition will pair almost 200 artworks with around 200 garments and accessories in an effort to join the dots between fashion and fine arts. The gala will take place on May 4th in New York City, and tickets are expected to cost $75,000. And it's not just that tickets cost $75,000. It is a very tight invite list. Like, they cost $75,000, but you also need to be explicitly invited. They have very strict invites. I've seen like a video, I watched a YouTube video one time about them making the seating charts. Anna Wintour will spend like days like figuring out who's going to sit where. It's like a whole thing. But I always love seeing what they're going to wear.
Oh, I do too. And you know what? I was thinking about Tyla one year. You know, she wore that sand dress.
Yeah. Oh, that was cool.
I know.
Lots
Whole
of
dress made out of sand. I mean,
creative.
that's amazing.
Creative for sure. All right. It is 6:26 this morning. The Trump administration steps up military activity in the Caribbean, seizing an oil tanker off Venezuela's coast. What officials say is behind the move when we're back on 10 News.
You're watching 10 News at 6, working for you.
New developments in the case of animal cruelty and neglect at Natural Bridge Zoo, details on the new lawsuit, and a stunning claim about the whereabouts of the missing giraffe calves.
And Virginia lawmakers press for answers after a deadly military strike, why they're demanding the video be made public.
Tensions with Venezuela escalate as the Trump administration seizes a massive oil tanker, what U.S. officials say was behind the move. Good morning, and thanks for waking up with us. I'm Keisha Lynn.
And I'm Abby Coleman. Our meteorologist this morning is Parker Beasley. Parker, we're getting rid of that snow. It's almost all melted, which is disappointing because it was so pretty, but we're moving on to new things, and those new things include a lot of wind.
Yeah, so we're dealing with really windy conditions out there, 20 to 30 mile per hour winds, some maybe even seeing higher winds, but the result of that is a chill out there this morning. A lot of our temperatures are sitting between about 20, maybe 25 degrees, but when you factor in some of the winds, especially across parts of the Blue Ridge, we're feeling like the teens in some areas, single digits for parts of the Highlands, 24 for Roanoke, 31 is your feels like out in the Hill City. So the real feel continues to be several degrees below what our actual temperature is. Any snow that is left on the ground out there that didn't melt yesterday will likely melt today as temperatures return to the mid to upper 30s. But the big story is the real feel. We will stay mostly clear and sunny, so as you head out the door this morning, notice blue skies. We haven't had those in quite some time.
Thank you, Parker. And we're learning more about a story we told you about yesterday afternoon out of Christiansburg. Residents reported hearing loud noises that some thought were explosions. Multiple vehicles were on fire at the Waste Service Management Meridian Waste. Staff say the sounds were not explosions, but tires popping while the vehicles burned. Staff members say the fire started due to an electrical short in one vehicle and spread to a second vehicle, which was also destroyed. Police confirmed no one was injured from the incident.
Surprising new details in the lawsuit filed by the ownership family of the Natural Bridge Zoo. Court documents obtained by 10 News show the family now claims two missing giraffe calves currently being sought by the state don't even exist. They've been at the center of zoo owner Gretchen Mogensen's legal issues after she was jailed in October for failing to turn the calves over to state officials. The basis of the suit claims multiple state and local agencies violated the family's civil rights during legal proceedings and while seizing animals and personal items from the zoo and family home. Accusations include witness intimidation, evidence manipulation, fabricated evidence, and unlawful searches and seizures. The lawsuit targets Virginia State Police, the Attorney General's Office, Rockbridge County, and the Virginia Animal Fighting Task Force. No comment from any of them so far.
Now, this story spans several years and has a lot of different moving pieces. So here's a summary of the timeline of events. It all began in 2014 with an investigation into several acts of, quote, horrendous cruelty and extreme neglect. The zoo was then fined $41,500 by the United States Department of Agriculture. Fast forward to December 2023, when Virginia State Police raided the zoo and seized 95 animals. Zeus the tiger was euthanized during the raid at the recommendation of a vet.
Then in January of 2024, a judge found that 60 of the 95 animals seized will stay with the state and ordered the removal of 4 giraffes. The zoo's attorney appealed in an attempt to get the other 60 animals back. Then in March, a jury decided the state was justified in the taking 71 of the animals during that raid. Then in February of this year, investigators discovered 2 of the giraffes were pregnant. A few months later in April, the giraffes were expected to have given birth, but the calves were nowhere to be found. This past May, a 3rd giraffe was seized and sent to a safari park in Georgia. It's later revealed she died in transit.
In July, the owners of the zoo, Gretchen and Carl Mogensen, were found guilty of contempt of court. Gretchen had live streamed one of the giraffes being seized by Carl, allegedly threatened state officials. In September, a judge ordered Gretchen to surrender the missing giraffe calves to the state within 5 weeks or face 100 days of jail time. In October, she reported to jail to begin serving a 100-day sentence after failing to turn those giraffe calves over to the state. And you can see a complete timeline on our website at WSLS.com. Blacksburg Transit is temporarily cutting back weekday service starting January 18th. This is due to the 2 recalls that limit the battery life of their electric buses. The changes will impact at least 8 routes between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. with fewer buses running and some routes operating less frequently. Service after 7 p.m. and weekend services will stay the same.
Lawmakers in D.C. are calling for the release of a video from the controversial double tap strike of an alleged drug boat near Venezuela in September that killed all survivors on board. The congressional committees overseeing the military have been pressing the Pentagon for more answers on that September 2nd strike, following reports that U.S. forces fired on 2 survivors clinging to wreckage after their alleged drug smuggling boat was attacked. Those pushing for answers include both of Virginia's senators.
Is this the new standard that other nations could apply to American troops who are shipwrecked? If it's okay for the United States, it's probably okay for others. And so the Pentagon is in full damage control mode, and it's important that this video be released.
The idea that he's going to try to simply drag this out until Congress breaks for the holidays is outrageous, and folks ought to be pretty damn pissed off.
Last night, the House passed a military spending bill that demands footage to be released of forces blowing up alleged drug boats. It goes to the Senate next.
The Trump administration is once again ramping up military activity in the Caribbean. On Wednesday, U.S. federal agencies seized an oil tanker off the Venezuelan coast that the Attorney General says was involved in an illicit oil shipping network that supported terrorists. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
This morning, tensions with Venezuela sharply escalating, with the Venezuelan government accusing the U.S. of, quote, a blatant theft and an act of international piracy over this moment when elite Coast Guard forces, according to 2 U.S. officials, rappel out of helicopters onto a massive oil tanker off Venezuela, executing what Attorney General Pam Bondi called a seizure warrant.
We've just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, large tanker, very large.
The Attorney General saying the tanker was transporting sanctioned oil from Venezuela and Iran, part of a, quote, illicit oil shipping network supporting foreign terrorist organizations.
It was seized for a very good reason.
It's unclear where the oil on board was headed or what happens to it next.
Well, we keep it, I guess.
The Venezuelan government now claiming President Trump's ramped-up pressure campaign against authoritarian leader Nicolas Maduro is about the country's rich oil reserves instead of drug trafficking. The Trump administration has been striking alleged drug boats off the Venezuelan coast and threatening to move on land, accusing Maduro of being tied to a drug trade that steals American lives, and putting out a $50 million reward for information leading to his capture. Maduro denies the allegations, and while he says his country is ready to fight, at a Wednesday rally he addressed Americans who don't want war.
Don't worry, be happy.
All as President Trump suggested Colombia may be next in his fight against the drug trade. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And still ahead, below normal temperatures continue as we're tracking not 1, but 2 fronts before the end of this week. I'll give you details after the break.
6:38, Illuminites is glowing brighter than ever, and 10 News is proud to help light the way. How you can join the holiday fun at Explorer Park.
And rising costs may be putting a damper on holiday giving. What local organizations are doing to keep helping families in need.
10 News Weather Authority from the JES Weather Center.
Parker, the snow this time was beautiful, and you got some pretty pictures from people too.
Yeah, so our Pin It page was just loaded with winter wonderland type pictures. I scrolled through it yesterday, and I just happened to pick this one out. The caption really got me because it was fire and ice, and I was like, you know what, that's a great description of this picture, because you've got the sun set, and then you've got the snow on the ground. So this is just a beautiful picture sent in by Polyvon out in Freeze. If you have a Pin It picture that you'd like to share with us, if it's pet related, weather related, you can go to WSLS.com/pinit or scan that QR code in the bottom left hand side of your screen. Here's a look at your wind chill across the board, feeling like 2 singular degrees out in Hot Springs this morning. Teens across parts of the New River Valley, 20s for a lot of the Piedmont and into Southside, feeling closer to about 32, 34. But wind chill will continue to build in. It'll come and go. Just depends on when those winds are really whipping around out there this morning, as they're roughly between around 20 and 30 miles per hour. When they're peaking at that 30-mile-per-hour point, that's when we'll be feeling the coldest, and so it'll be fluctuating through the rest of your Thursday. But here's a preview at how cold we could be feeling at noon this afternoon, roughly between about 15 and 30 degrees across Southwest Virginia, continuing into this evening. Now, if you are headed out the door here shortly, you'll notice maybe just a handful of clouds up there in the sky, but we will be mostly clear and sunny pretty much all day long, with temperatures getting just above the freezing point between about 10 and 11 a.m. That is good news, because all of the snow that maybe didn't melt yesterday or maybe refroze will have the potential to melt later on today. So I've seen some parking lots with just clumps of ice built up, so hopefully some of those go away throughout the day, which will make some of the shopping a little bit easier this upcoming weekend as the holidays are upon us. Here's a look at today's wind speeds. Again, going to be decreasing as we go hour by hour. Once that sun sets, winds will be turning breezy between about 5, maybe 10 miles per hour. And we are tracking yet another front. We've had so many frontal systems come through within the last couple of days, all thanks to just the overall pattern we've been in. The subtropical jet is way down there to our south. The polar jet is actually just off to our south. So this is providing streamlined moisture as well as cold air supply into the region. And so we've got another front that moves in later tonight, bringing the chance for more snow showers starting around midnight through 4 a.m. Maybe from 9, 10, 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, we'll see some scattered snow showers. I do think a lot of the snow actually holds just north of the I-64 corridor, west of I-81 and west of I-77. So I'm talking to Grayson, Bland, Giles, Craig, Allegheny, Highland, Bath counties, where odds of seeing 1 inch of snow are currently between around 60 and 90%. So that's what we're tracking to close out this work week, and what we're tracking for our weather headlines is cold air that's going to continue to build in. Our next frontal system comes on Sunday. That could bring a brief round of some wintry mix, maybe some snow showers, maybe some rain. But what it will certainly do is bring in some really cold temperatures to kick off next week. Morning low for Monday, 13 for the Roanoke Valley, 5 for the New River Valley. It's now time for Time Saver Traffic.
Parker, thank you. Taking a look at I-81. If you take a look on I-81 southbound Buchanan to Roanoke, you can get there in 26 minutes. Blacksburg to Roanoke northbound, 51 minutes. 10 News is working for you, helping our neighbors in need this Christmas. And that's why we've once again teamed up with the Salvation Army to help with their Angel Tree program.
That's right, Abby. The Salvation Army of the Roanoke Valley, which serves Roanoke County, Roanoke City, Craig, and Botetourt, is helping 430 local families this Christmas. That's roughly 1,000 children that need to be shopped for. Salvation Army staff say their biggest need right now is volunteers for today, Friday, and next week for Angel Tree distribution preps. And for more information on how you can get involved, you can visit WSLS.com/angel. And we have definitely, participate in the Angel Tree program.
Yeah, I think we've both done this for the last couple years, and it's become one of my favorite holiday traditions. I know for me, my mom and I always adopt an angel, and this year we had a little girl. She wanted a lot of hair and makeup things, which was very fun because I love hair and makeup, so that was a fun time to shop for sure.
And then I also did it with my mom as well. My mom and my boyfriend, and the girl, she wanted a lot of Harry Potter stuff. So we just went out, got a lot of different Harry Potter stuff. And actually one of our digital producers pitched in as well. So
it's awesome.
Really like it.
I think all of our angels were adopted within a day of putting up the tree, which was incredible. I remember I went to go look at the list and I was like, they've all pretty much already been taken. So that was a good problem to have, I'd say.
Yeah, it certainly was.
All right, well, a reminder now that Illuminates is getting ready for another weekend full of fun. The Dazzling Lights Show runs every weekend through January 4th, and this past weekend was packed. We want to give you all at home an opportunity to see the Dazzling Lights. 2 lucky winners will each receive a family 4-pack of tickets to Illuminates. Entering is free. You just need to be a WSLS insider. Entries close on December 12th at 11:59 p.m. So tomorrow night, head to WSLS.com for more details. And of course, 10 News is one of the many proud sponsors of this year's Illuminates. We can't wait to see you at Explore Park.
The spirit of giving may be hitting a wall for some nonprofits this holiday season amid the rising cost of living and higher prices for just about everything. Some organizations say that's led to fewer donations compared to prior years. 10 News reporter Jalen Stubbs is working for you with how one group is shifting strategies to keep providing a helping hand.
For the people that are in need of the services, of course, there's a lot of anxiety.
As we head into the holiday season, a time where many families traditionally give back, local nonprofits are watching closely to see if the rising costs are affecting generosity.
United Way of Virginia's Blue Ridge is paying close attention to how rising costs are impacting donors. Their president and CEO says they've shifted their strategy to keep providing a helping hand.
If individual giving isn't able to go up because of expenses, what we could do is increase the number of people who are willing to give and willing to make a difference. So this kind of just represents the evolution of the work that we've been doing.
United Way created an emergency relief fund to address this year's housing challenges. Their goal is to help 10,000 families reach self-sufficiency by 2030, but they can only do it with continued community support.
Our responsibility as nonprofits and anybody in the community is to make the need known, and for us to never underestimate the generosity of people and their desire to make a difference.
In downtown Roanoke, I'm Jalen Stubbs, 10 News, working for you.
6:49 this morning. Holiday travel is ramping up. What's driving millions to the highways and which days you'll want to avoid hitting the road? That's in your top stories coming up next.
And coming up on Today, the Today Show will exclusively reveal Time's 2025 Person of the Year. Time Editor-in-Chief Sam Jacobs will join the Today Show crew for the big announcement. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure you tune in right here on WSLS.
Here's a look at this morning's top stories at 6:53 a.m. A guilty plea for a Catawba youth pastor who's been in federal custody since an August arrest. 34-year-old Jacob Barnett pled guilty to one count of attempted sexual exploitation of a 15-year-old child. Court documents indicate Barnett used TikTok to message the minor, claiming he was 17 years old. Now, the minor, who identified she was 15 years old, received Barnett's phone number and began texting before getting requests to send photos. We have additional details into this case with the story on WSLS.com.
Surprising new details in the lawsuit filed by the ownership family of the Natural Bridge Zoo. Court documents obtained by 10 News show the family now claims 2 missing giraffe calves currently being sought by the state don't even exist. They've been at the center of zoo owner Gretchen Mogensen's legal issues after she was jailed in October for failing to turn the calves over to state officials. The basis of the suit claims multiple state and local agencies violated the family's civil rights during legal proceedings, and while seizing animals and personal items from the zoo and family home. Accusations include witness intimidation, evidence manipulation, fabricated evidence, and unlawful searches and seizures. The lawsuit targets Virginia State Police, the Attorney General's Office, Rockbridge County, and the Virginia Animal Fighting Task Force. No comment from any of them so far.
Experts say the holiday travel season will be busier this year than last year, and most travelers will hit the road to take advantage of lower gas prices. With Christmas just over 2 weeks away, experts say most Americans will opt for the road to take advantage of those gas prices. Like we said, averages below $3 a gallon. There are some key days you will want to avoid travel if possible. Those days will be December 20th, 21st, and the day after Christmas on the 26th. If possible, your best travel days will be on Christmas on December 25th and New Year's Day.
And it's starting to get down to the wire. If you need to send out Christmas gifts, you've got less than a week of shopping left. The Postal Service says you need to send packages by next Wednesday to get them delivered before the holiday. If you want to spend a bit extra, paying for Priority Mail will get you until next Thursday. Priority Mail Express 2 gets you until next Saturday. But keep in mind, these are just estimates, and it's always better to send them a bit early. Also, allow an extra day or two for items going outside the continental U.S.
And here's a look at the next 24 hours. Wind chill going to be way down there today, between about the teens and all the way up to maybe 30 degrees or so. That's how cold we'll be feeling pretty much all day long. Here's a look at what we're tracking next after today. We do have another light trough that builds through, bringing the chance for some isolated snow showers later tonight into parts of tomorrow. Some areas could maybe see 1 inch, 2 inches of snow across the Blue Ridge, maybe a light dusting across the Piedmont. Then we do it all over again on Sunday as we're tracking yet another front that looks to bring in some really cold air to kick off next week.
We have another 30 minutes of local news coming up, so stay with us over at WSLS.com.
And we leave you with a live look at Wytheville from the Bowling Wilson Hotel Skycam. Have a great day.